The AI Kubernetes Show.
Hello, and welcome to the AI Kubernetes Show, coming to you live from KubeCon in Atlanta. My name is William Chia. I'll be your host, where we dig into how the new proliferation of AI tools and changes in workflows and processes are impacting how we do software engineering, data science, platform engineering, all things Kubernetes and all things software development. Today, I'm very excited to have as a guest on our show Todea, who is the Developer Experience Engineer at Victoria Metrics, as well as the co-chair for the Neurodiversity Working Group for CNCF that's part of Merge Forward. Deanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
It's great to be on with you. We have had a lot of topics that we've talked about today. And one thing that's interesting to me is you are part of the Neurodiversity Working Group. And I'm curious, how are you seeing this new generation of AI tools and processes are impacting either folks who are neurotypical or neurodivergent? Where's the overlay there and how do they interact?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. I think that's something that hasn't been explored that much yet. At least I haven't heard. But I think it can go both ways in the sense that it can help a neurodiverse person, but it can also maybe trigger a bit of anxiety in the background, if you know what I mean. In the sense that AI is great for some specific tasks, especially if you're working alone. Also maybe in teams, but especially if you're working alone, it can help you, be more efficient or get things done, get rid of the, let's say the extra time and make it easier for you. But in the same time, probably not many people are AI knowledgeable. So it'll be like another tool that you have to learn, another thing that will be there in the stack and cause some sort of anxiety that you have to master. It comes with both sides, I think.
So for folks that are neurodivergent and have some type of disability or element that they struggle with, this can be an opportunity to get additional tooling to help them, but then also being in an environment can be overwhelming. I'm curious, is there either out of your organization or community, is there any kind of story that comes to mind of somebody who maybe had some type of neurodiversity and was using AI in some way that helped or improved their workflow?
Well, I think it's really AI has helped me personally ask more questions that I normally don't answer to people. So I'm using AI mostly on a daily basis, not super sophisticated usage. So I'm not a software engineer, so I don't spend like hours with Copilot and so forth. But I do use it a lot to brainstorm, research, ask questions that probably I would ask some other person, but I'm like either too shy or too nervous to ask. So for me, it's like a way to calm myself down, put things in order, and also get some validation about my own thoughts. So it's a very great tool for organizing ideas, organizing thoughts. But I'm very special, so I kind of like draw a line about creativity. So I still like to keep a detachment and a separation between how much AI I'm going to use on a daily basis, and I like to keep my own ideas apart. So definitely I'm using it as a tool. I'm not abusing it. And I totally see that working very well for other neurodiverse people. I think that's why it can have great usage. I would like to come up with this topic for another meeting with neurodiversity group. That would be excellent.
Yeah, I also have found it tremendously powerful in my own use. My whole team knows that the first thing I do is I wake up in the morning, I hand grind my coffee beans, and I talk to Gemini over the voice channel. And it is just, for me, a sense of oral processing that allows me to get out thoughts that are otherwise difficult to do in whether just writing or live on a meeting. So I have also found that very, very helpful. Have you seen any of these kind of examples where you can go into an organization or you're trying to get work done and the way that they're using AI it becomes a detriment, or maybe where leadership aren't thinking about folks that are neurodivergent versus neurotypical, or you know, for anybody that it's become a challenge. Any kind of examples come to mind there of we're using AI in this way, but it's causing a challenge?
Yeah, it's an interesting take. To be honest, I haven't seen anything related to neurodiversity, and I think that's, how can I say, that's definitely an opportunity to exploit. And I'm talking about neurodiversity in general, not just AI related. Normally, there are like zero conversations about neurodiversity at the workplace, and I think that's a pity. That's a total opportunity to be explored. So I would like to see more of that. But in a sense that if like employees like are abusing AI in a way or can be detrimental, definitely. I mean, you get all the hype in the world, people get excited, and then they kind of like fall on the rabbit hole and then keep using it for like any small task. And I think that's maybe too much, so it can be an exaggeration in that sense.
Well, this is definitely a theme here at the show, and I think in the industry broadly. The idea that we can use AI and it can help us, but is it helping or is it harming? If we delegate all the work, do we lose something in not having to struggle through the process?
Yeah, totally. I think there's a very high chance of AI pushing us to become more lazy on a daily basis. I've seen that with, I mean, not myself at my work, but I've heard stories that normally like younger generations tend to fall into that trap because it's easier once you don't have, let's say, a certain experience. It's very easy to collaborate with a tool and to have all the work done, or let's say main part of your work done by AI. But then if people ask for validation, hey, why did you do it like this? Do you have any real reasoning? They panic and they use again AI to further explain the issue. So I think that's kind of like a very tricky vicious circle. And I would definitely kind of, if I were an employer, I would definitely want to put a stop and do like maybe like proper training on AI, right? So that'll be very, very helpful, I think.
And for folks that might want to do the type of training or just even advice to their team, or for anybody who finds themselves falling into this pattern, where do you see is the balance between these are good use cases to delegate to AI, or good time in the time flow, order of operations, and this is not, this is where I could use AI, but I shouldn't because I'm giving something up?
No, yeah, that's totally great. I would think just listen to your human intuition, right? The idea is that we know when something is being abused. So it's like the little voice inside our heads, that intuition is like, oh, I'm not so super sure that I should do that right now with AI, but I'm still gonna do it, right? So you have to listen to that. And at the moment where you're like using AI for complex tasks that you don't master normally, I would say pause a second, think about it, try to do it that task manually or do it with your own thoughts, and then try little by little to integrate it with AI. Because first it has to pass through your own chain of thoughts. So you have to internalize that process or that workflow. And then once you kind of like automate it inside your brain or you do it a couple of times, maybe it's can be good to integrate it with AI. I wouldn't do it like very spontaneously with everything, because normally that will be a very badly done job, so you'll be kind of exposed there.
This is a good posture to have a healthy dose of skepticism, and maybe ratchet up a little more than our normal pace when we're working with LLMs. We know they hallucinate, but if we just take that as our default posture, the voice in our head will click in like, I should probably validate this.
Yeah, you got it.
And you also mentioned differences in generation, where we definitely see folks who exist in different time periods, have different macro cultural experiences. What are you seeing in terms of folks that are entering the workplace now, or generational differences in how they approach this new wave of AI tooling?
Yeah, definitely. AI is super popular with younger generations. especially if you're like getting, even in school, like the usage of AI is like right now getting like very popular, and kind of like it's a routine. And I think that could be, how can I say, not very good for one's creativity, and not only creativity, but you're getting up to the point where even the communication or even like the traditional experience is not going to be perceived in the same way. So definitely, I would say like even from schools, it should be maybe a training on AI. Maybe, hey, let's be cautious about how we are using AI, how much we are using on a daily basis, for what use cases. Let's pause and actually be aware of what potentially AI could do to us, like human race. And I'm not talking about like really weird cases, Skynet and everything. I'm talking about like normal situation that will affect us culturally, you know. And obviously, we as people, we do prefer to have human contact, and we still, have the very basic concepts of like family, social interaction, and that's what basically will keep us very, very sane in using AI. So I will still think some pillars, traditional pillars, are still needed. So definitely that should start from school and growing up and into the workplace.
And your role is as a developer experience engineer. And we've chatted a little bit before about the term platform engineering and why that may or may not be a misnomer. I'm wondering if you can share, with the audience, what is a developer experience engineer? How does that differ or not differ from platform engineering?
Yeah, I think that's a great one. So basically, I come from an engineering background. So all my life, I've been working different roles in engineering, and I've been an SRE, I've been an infrastructure engineer, and I've seen so many roles changing with time and the titles and everything. And with my first role in community, I started to explore. I started to sense that developer advocate or the developer relations is not like very well perceived by engineers, right? And they like to speak with an engineer sometimes, so for them, like being approached by developer experience engineer sounds a lot more to familiar for them, less marketing or less salesy in that sense. So it's a total rebranding of the role, right, of the work. But going back to your original question, like what does this have to do with platform engineering? I think that developer experience engineer can definitely provide useful inputs on platform engineering as well. So it's a very, very broad role that can be applied to a lot of things in tech, right? Definitely platform engineering right now as a terminology has been quite on the rise. I've been like working my life as SRE or DevOps engineer, and right now I'm thinking like, okay, but I fit into the category of a platform engineer myself. But right now I'm seeing like a rebranding of whatever we thought originally was platform engineering. The same happened back in the day with monitoring and observability. Nowadays people don't find it really cool to use monitoring as a term, and they prefer observability. So in a sense, I think that there is a very close link of developer experience engineer with platform engineering. But is like, how do we perceive platform engineering? What are the best use cases? How we can help the developers, I don't know, use the platforms, or what do they get in return from that? So basically, the developer experience engineer is like a bridge, acts like a bridge, and tries to help developers onboard on specific use cases, technologies. That could be platform engineering or anything else.
Okay, so developer experience engineer is a little bit of a rebrand or iteration on developer advocacy or
Yep.
developer evangelism. And yeah, these terms tend to evolve over time. Even the term platform engineering, which I've used the most on the show, but as folks that know in this line of work, and even where I got started in my career, title was like sysadmin, and SRE, DevOps engineer. These can be all different roles in the org, and the titles mean something, or they can be the same person, can do the same job in they have this different titles.
Yeah, totally. So I think that because I was speaking with people that they've refocused right now on platform engineering, and they gave me like a very nice, how can I say, concept about that. So they think that what platform engineering brings in plus from the other roles is the software engineering element. So it's okay, you can be an SRE, a DevOps engineer, a sysadmin, but you need to have software engineering experience to be able to perform that platform engineering part. Without that, it's very, very hard to do the abstraction layer. It's very, very hard to actually build and architect, under the hood, like the whole platform or whatever concept. So it's a very nice distinction that I was very interested to know, what would be. And I think that's the key. So you do need to have very, very specific experience as software engineer to be able to perform as a platform engineer.
And one of the elements I like that you talked about is in your role, thinking about developer experience. This is when we think about training, onboarding, environments. Could I call this setting engineers up for success?
Yeah, definitely. For success, and also like I think there's a very, very important element here of communication. So what the developer experience engineer does is like it's always in communication with the community, right? So whatever frustration a developer has, you have to be there and capture that, right? And bring it back to your organization or to whatever the product team, etc., and say, look, they're having this issue. We need to help them. You need to do your best possible to reach that and treat that frustration. So I think how can I say, it's sort of like kind of like a doctor in a way, like a debug role, let's say, that you have, and engineers kind of like trust developer experience engineers to say, look, I'm having a hard time with this. It's not only onboarding, but specific use cases. Please help me to get out of this, and please give back this feedback to your organization.
On the world of go-to-market, on R&D on one side, over in the go-to-market side, they tend to call this voice of the customer, voice of the community. I'm curious if there's a for instance that comes to mind of something you encountered recently where there was a challenge in your community, or there was some feedback to be shared, and then you were able to bring that to your product or engineering org, and that community feedback affected some type of change. Is there a story or for instance that comes to mind?
Yeah, of course. Actually, that's something that happens quite often. Because what I really like is that the developer experience engineer gets out there. So they go to a lot of events, a lot of conferences. They do a lot of stuff in the community to get that feedback. And you get sort of like the developers' confessions, frustrations, and then you're going back and you're like explaining what needs to be done. So normally what we typically do is like we either ask them to open a bug, an issue, either to contact us via Slack. So very, very concrete steps that we can do. We can help them like with resources, trainings, tutorials, and from that we bridge that conversation, right? I had like other experience, maybe like on the CNCF side, because I'm also an OpenTelemetry contributor, where I actually implemented POC'd OpenTelemetry in one of the past organizations. And we had a major block like in reading the documentation and like basically interpreting whatever we wanted to interpret. We went back to the CNCF community, we opened an issue, we discussed this, and we let the community take it from there. So it's very important to understand that also, even if you're an organization or a CNCF ecosystem or project, you need to wait for that time to pass for proper steps to be done, right? So an issue won't get fixed in a second, probably will take months or weeks. And that's very important to build also that trust communication, that trust relationship with the project or the organization.
And of course, as everything is changing, AI, tooling can change how we do these same types of processes. Are you seeing in that work, and in terms of community engagement, in terms of either bringing the feedback or enabling our community with education and onboarding, where are you seeing the current crop of AI tools being leveraged in that work of community management and community care?
Right. Yeah, that's very nice question. I I don't think that it has been exploited that much right now in developer experience roles. I would like to see it properly engaged. I definitely heard something in the recent conferences I've been about maybe integrating some AI workflows in the developer experience platforms. I haven't got any like real cases how they are doing that or how they are planning this. But actually, I got like a very interesting use case from a recent conference where they are doing some integration in the CI/CD tooling for and also the customer experience. And I think that's sort of like close to developer experience, but not there yet, right? So it's something that definitely can be explored, and I would love to see that happening.
That's tremendous. Well, we've definitely enjoyed having you on the show. There's been a lot of interesting conversation across a variety of topics. For our folks in the audience, if they want to catch up with you, find you online, where can they get in touch with you?
Sure, I'm available on LinkedIn, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Twitter. So on the social media, you can find me on Victoria Metric Slack. And I'm an Open Telemetry contributor, so you can always ping on the CNCF Slack for any questions. And yeah, I'm happy to reach back.
Diana, it's been a privilege to have you on the show.
Nice to meet you.
Created by the team at buoyant.io.